But I'm going to get this one started with Skip, because I want to know what you think. What is going on here?
Just for the record, I've covered the NBA even longer than my man Chris Broussard has. I started covering the NBA when I was at the LA Times back in 1977, and I covered these Los Angeles Lakers. So I've been around for a little while, and I've seen a thing or two. This team now sets up as the most difficult to coach team I can ever remember. Maybe I'm forgetting one somewhere along the trail, but I don't think so. Because let me just count the ways. Michael Beasley, love his game, loved him before his draft. He's now been on 7 teams in 11 years for a reason. Rajon Rondo's been on 6 teams in the last 5 years for a reason. Lance Stevenson has been on 7 teams in the last 6 years for a reason. And JaVale McGee has been on 6 teams in 11 years for various reasons. They're all, in different ways, extremely difficult to coach from night to night. They can be moody, they can be unpredictable, they can be a little knuckleheaded in their own various ways. This is now the NBA's version of the Expendables, and I can't believe that LeBron James signed off on all 4 of them, because I'm pretty sure Magic had to take each one of these to LeBron and say, you good? You good? You good? He's had history with all 4 in various ways, playing for or against them, or with or against them. And it's like he now has the equivalent of 4 J.R. Smiths on his team. Not that Rondo's knuckleheaded. He can just be difficult. High basketball IQ. Doc Rivers finally said, I just can't coach him because he thinks he's the coach of my team. He thinks he knows more than I do. He was the driving force behind New Orleans' rise last year into the playoffs, past Portland in the first round. It was highly impressive. And then the Pelicans said, no. No, we're not going to go forward with Rondo because he's difficult to coach. So all of a sudden, poor Luke Walton at age 38 is sitting in the volatile mix that he's surrounded with a lot of bench players who are going to want minutes and make waves if they don't get their minutes. And he's got a LeVar ball sort of hanging over his head from above, and you never know which night LeVar is just going to go off on Luke Walton and say the team has quit on him or he should be fired or whatever. So if this team does get off to a little bit of a rocky start, my man Shannon Sharpe says, yes, it could get off to a rocky start. Everybody thinks that this is going to be kind of a rough mix. You know where the fingers are going to get pointed early on? At the 38-year-old head coach down at the end of the bench, right? And again, LeBron is going to have to help him coach this team if, in fact, he signed off on these 4 guys. But I'm going to remind you, there's been a long-running theme in the league that I first heard around the San Antonio Spurs back in the Steven Jackson days. And I love Steven Jackson, but he was considered early on in his career, despite all of his game and all of his intangibles and character that he did have, basketball character, he was considered a knucklehead. He could do knuckleheaded things. And so there was the one knucklehead theory, where if you have 1 on your team, you'll be just fine. But if you have 2, you're in trouble. This team has potentially 4 or 5. I'll even throw in LeVar as a potential knucklehead into this mix. And there's a lot of edge here and a lot of good edge, a lot of playmaking edge that could quickly go over the edge. So I say good luck, Luke Walton.
Well, I don't disagree with very much of what you said. I'm glad you didn't go the extra step. I thought you might go into conspiracy theory and say LeBron's setting Luke up for a fall. I'm glad
he already said that.
Oh, you already said that?
Yeah, he got excuses now.
LeBron's not that cold-blooded. Like, I think he really wants to give Luke a chance.
I was more going, like, you've planted a lot of potential excuses so you could take 1 year off and make it your honeymoon.
See, I told you, see?
Well,
you thought you got away from that, did you, Chris?
Go ahead.
Look, it is a volatile mix. There's no, it's so potentially volatile, and there's so many individual storylines that when you were talking about all the different players and how many teams they've been on, I had forgotten about LeVar. That's how volatile this thing could be. That's how many personalities are in there, that LeVar is now just one of many storylines. Now, it's bizarre for a few reasons. LeBron, and I think LeBron more than signed off. I think some of these are LeBron's suggestions or recommendations. he likes players with high basketball IQ. Michael Beasley, like you said, great talent. And in fairness to him, hasn't had any problems with the marijuana and things he used to get in trouble for early in his career in a while. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
do too.
But he still bounces around. Nobody's wanted to keep him. And he's a productive scorer off the bench.
Yeah.
But he's not high basketball IQ. That's one of his major problems, especially defensively. And when you talk about wanting to compete with Golden State, that's where you need high basketball IQ is on the defensive end. So that's a little bit bizarre. As you said, for Luke, I mean, one, you have all these personalities. Rondo has admittedly, by his own admission, said he's never had a coach he got along with, dating back to Little League, okay? If he challenged Doc Rivers and Rick Carlisle, two of the most respected coaches, accomplished coaches in the league, what's he going to do with Luke? And then you've got, by my count, I believe 11 players. If you count Mo Wagner, who I like as a rookie, can shoot. If you count him, I believe you got 11 players that you could say deserve some time. That's a challenge. That is a challenge. We saw it last year in Cleveland. You need about 8 definitive guys that are better than the other 4 on your team. When you got 11 and a lot of them are close, it's hard to determine who gets them in. We saw it with Ty Lue's struggle in Cleveland. For as much as we compare LeBron to Michael Jordan, I'm starting to wonder. Look, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I predicted 53 wins and an MVP. Much of that's on LeBron, and they do have some talent, so I'm going to stick with that. But I'm wondering if he's similar to MJ in terms of putting a team together because he loved that Cleveland team a year ago. Remember they worked out in L.A. together? They took pictures, and it was like – and they did have a ton of talent, but it just didn't fit.
Right.
We saw Isaiah Thomas in New York, great, all-time great player. And I'm talking about the legendary.
Right.
Put together a bunch of talent, Jamal Crawford, Zach Randolph. It didn't really fit. And, Jordan's taking chances on Dwight Howard, on Lance Stevenson. He took a chance. And so it's going to be very interesting.
Just to be objective, I always call Michael Jordan the greatest player ever in any sport, but the worst GM in the history of the NBA. But go ahead.
Well, let me tell you something about these minutes. Skip, you remember the commercial on Smith Barney? They say we make money the old-fashioned way. We earn it. Well, we take that same philosophy into the Lakers. You want minutes, you earn them.
Who's going to say whether you earn them or not?
Luke Walton.
LeBron or Luke?
Luke. Stop saying that. Luke Walton is the head coach. LeBron is a player, and LeBron will play his role to the utmost.
Okay.
Sometimes. But anyway, look,
We'll see.
the thing is that these guys have really never had a player of LeBron's caliber in their locker room. When JaVale McGee was with the Wizards, and he had Swaggy P, and he had Gilbert Arenas, and he had, Jarvis Critton, the dude pulling a gun on each other. I mean, what are we supposed to do about that? What coach you gonna? I mean, the guys, they got a duel. One got a 50 cal, the other got a Glock. Say, okay, what you want to do? What you gonna do? So I would chalk that up. Look at JaVale McGee the last couple.
One team. He's been on 5 others.
Look at JaVale, but look at JaVale when he got to Golden State, and he had guys there that were respected, and they hold him accountable. They say, look, bro.
We're about to see that with DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, get your 15 minutes. Lance Stevenson. He's never had a guy like LeBron that's going to hold him accountable. Everybody else on the laughing kid on the sideline when he doing all them shenanigans. You was the main one up here egging him on. Oh, look at him antagonizing LeBron.
Well, he was a LeBron irritant. He was, and it worked sometimes.
And LeBron says, you know what? I want him on my team. I want him to irritate somebody else.
Got it.
But all these guys, with the exception of JaVale McGee, can do one thing. They can create their own shot. They can go take the ball. And Magic said, I want guys to take some of the scoring load off LeBron that they can go create their own shot. Ingram, Kuzma, Stevenson, Beasley. These guys can go get their own shot. So LeBron doesn't have to average 30 and get 15 assists because nobody else get. Kyle Korver was not getting his own shot. Neither was JR. Neither was Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson. None of the only guy really that could go get his own shot was Jeff Green.
You're right in that, I'll give you this. He's never had a team with this many guys that could go get their own shot. In Cleveland, his first stint, I don't even know who could. I mean, maybe Mo Williams at times. Even in Miami, it was Wade.
Right there.
And Bosh, I guess. in Cleveland with Kyrie. It was Kyrie.
That was it.
And so you do have several players who can do that.
So LeBron to make it.
I love the tangibles. I love what I see, the talent.
They got a lot of talent.
The intangibles, I don't know. Somebody has to ride herd. Somebody has to juggle egos and weird personalities.
You watch Top Chef?
And here's the challenge, too. Golden State, you mentioned JaVale McGee in Golden State. That was a whole culture and several vets.
Yeah.
You know, Steph, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson. Not that Steph and Klay are really talkative, but still, they're part of the culture. Draymond's there.
Draymond's mainly.
And they had won championships. This is really one guy, LeBron, that's going to have to try to bring all these guys together. And granted, now maybe Magic can help from the front office, but that's tough to do. I talked to Michael Jordan before they brought in Lance. And he was concerned about, okay, how's he going to fit, in locker room. I said, man, you control Dennis Rodman. I know you can control him. He said it's different when you're not in the locker room. Mm-hmm. It's one thing as a player to control guys. It's another thing from the front office.
That's why the coaches always say players need to police the locker room. And that's what we did. Mike couldn't control what was going on downstairs. That was our job. But, Skip, you watch Top Chef. They give them a bunch of chocolate.
I watch it when my brother wins it.
Okay, but here's the thing. They might give you chocolate. They give you lobster. They give you fettuccine. They give you all kinds of things that don't go together. And what they make? Something delicious. They just handed LeBron James a whole bunch of stuff that don't go together. Now watch this meal come out tasting good to 54 wins.
None of those ingredients have personality.
Don't worry about it. Don't need no personality.
You can just chop them up and throw them in.
Me and Chris Broussard be serving that thing up for 53, 54 wins next year. Yeah, that's what we will do. We will do that.
But isn't LeBron sick of managing these personalities and keeping people accountable? I feel like he should be past that in his career, and now he has to do it all over again.
But he got a lot of Dr. Phil in him.
Really?
He does. He does. I agree. That's true. And look, I'm telling you, I don't believe. I haven't been told this, but I don't believe this is the Lakers going, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I think this is. I mean, there's a two-way street, but a lot of these are LeBron's suggestions, I do believe. I'm thinking, I really think the Lakers missed the boat in not going to get Boogie Cousins. Just for 1 year. Give him a 1 year, $10 million deal or something. Maybe it was the injury. Maybe they're like, he won't be back till February or something. But if you're bringing in all of these guys.
But but here's the thing. All of them on 1 year deals.
Oh, yeah.
Because in 2019, we already went fishing. Yep. Now, sometimes, you go fishing, you catch a big fish, you're like, I'm good with that. That's on my bucket list. Magic Johnson said, I'm going back fishing. I'm going to see if I can catch me another whale.
Okay. So if I made a list of difficult to coach players in the NBA, I might put DeMarcus Cousins at the top.
Oh, you better.
He is worth the headache because he has superstar potential.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All these players that LeBron signed off on are 50-50. They all have talent and they all have some resume.
But Skip, if they were first of all, superstar talents don't become available. There's a reason why they're available. Everyone and Boogie wouldn't have been available if Boogie didn't have that torn Achilles. They decided to get, I don't know what the max, he could have got, 175, 180?
It's interesting. That would have been interesting.
Somebody would have gave Boogie a max deal. If he's 100, so you don't believe that he got a max deal if he's 100%
I'm not totally sure.
Really?
Just because his reputation is pretty bad. I mean, somebody could have just taken a 1 year flyer on him. Nobody offered him anything.
No.
Anything.
Now,
I think he would have got paid. He would have got a good amount of money, but I don't know about the max.
But if this recipe works.
He'll make it work.
Working, like we've said.
Yeah.
If he gets his team to 53, if they get 53 or 54 wins, they're going to be the third or fourth seed.
Not only is LeBron the MVP, but Luke's coach of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
I mean, some of the best stuff my grandma made didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, quite a deal.
You have food on your mind.
Yeah, you got to do them, huh?
Chris, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, them grapes ain't do too much.
We got to get Shannon some food in the break.